We're back in the saddle with another HVAC success secrets revealed live. It's been a hot minute.
Good to see you, bud. It has been a minute.
Yeah. I did a lot of shows in person, which was fun and exciting.
Absolutely. We had a great time doing the road show, but it also feels good to be able to get into a deeper conversation this week and spend more than 20 minutes with a guest and really get deep into a topic. So I'm excited for this.
Cool.
Awesome.
Who do we have on?
This week, we have Ryan Fenn from Chiirp on the show. He is a CEO. He's a 12-year veteran in business and automation industry. He has a passion for entrepreneurship, a passion for automation, and how to effectively communicate with clients and essentially make it easier for you as a business owner to be able to do that. So I'm excited for this. It's something that we've been using a lot in our business in terms of automations, text messaging, email campaigns, etc. And I'm excited to pick his brain a little bit in terms of what it is that Chiirp offers and the value that comes with automations.
No, I love that. And automations can help increase your efficiency. And of course, speaking of efficiencies, we wouldn't be here without our sponsors. We wouldn't be able to continue to do what we do. So Profit Rocket, well as Sera, as well as On Purpose Media. But when I think about efficiencies in Sera, I mean, how would you like to, as your business, double your efficiency? But not only that, increase your revenue 52% on average within the first 6 months. That's actually pretty good, right? While doubling your profits, which is special for Sera Systems and what they do with the field service management software. So be sure to get on a demo with them, sales.sera.tech/HVAC-revealed, so you too can double your profits. Speaking of profits,
big shout out to our other sponsor, Profit Rocket. The Profit Rocket Blueprint, it's live. If you have not checked it out yet, make sure you book your demo. Callprofitrocket.com is the website there. But if you're an HVAC business owner and you're looking to grow your company, not just the top line, but the bottom line, like Thad said with Sera, growing profits. Everyone brags about being a 7-figure, 8-figure, 9-figure business, but top line revenue doesn't mean shit if you're not making any money. And that's what this blueprint is all for, is to show you exactly the systems that Victor's used to grow absolute airflow from a $0 to a $50 million per year business. Go check it out, book your demo today, and check out the Profit Rocket Blueprint.
All right, let's go.
Giddy up.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to HVAC Success Secrets Revealed, a show where we interview industry leaders and disruptors, revealing the success secrets to create and unleash the ultimate HVAC business. Now your hosts, Thaddeus and Evan.
All right, welcome back, everyone. Another HVAC Success Secrets Revealed. We have good conversations with good people, and any good conversation worth having is worth having drunk. Cheers, gentlemen. Ryan, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate you.
Kids left out in the office for you.
Hey, everyone's got to have at least one beverage on the show, and there's no judgment if that has 0 alcohol in it or even comes in a pouch. So welcome, Ryan.
That is correct. Actually, there are ones that have vodka in them that are like that, and they are fucking delicious and honestly quite slippery slope.
This is not that. This is berry. Very good. So.
Love it. Well, Ryan, why don't you give us a little peek behind the curtains as to your journey into creating Chiirp and how it's been such a great fit for business owners, especially within the trades.
Well, yeah, thanks guys for having me. Appreciate it. I started Chiirp 4 years ago. So I had some really good success in my business using automation. My first business, my first entrepreneurial success was windshield repair. So going back to 2009, 2010, I started a business fixing windshields and did really well with it. Started off going door to door. It was just hustling. We had $0 and no money in the bank, and we were just going door to door selling windshields and windshield repair. And in about 2 years, we got it into like 9 different locations. I had like 9 guys working for me, and it was a good, successful business, making a great income. And in 2014, I kind of got the idea like, hey, this is something that's really cool. I think a lot of people could benefit from it. Why don't I like create like a training program on how to start your own windshield repair business? And so I had a Mac Mini and just started doing these little like not YouTube, but PowerPoint presentation videos of how to start your own. This is like before courses were cool, right? This is like eight years ago. And I put that together and started selling it in 2015. And I was selling it using Facebook ads and text messaging. I was like trying to piece those together, and I was like programming, like we had like several different softwares that we were like piecing together. And I made like $2 million selling that course. And then I kind of had the same idea, right? Where it's like, oh man, this works so well for me. This has got to work well for the businesses. But I had the idea of trying to bring together automation into one place so that everything I was doing with multiple softwares could come together so that the entire sales journey, the entire process was in one place. And that's how we came up with Chiirp. And then that was 2017, 18 in there. And we started, I hired a software engineer and we started programming. By 2019, we had a product that was, that could be used, MVP, minimum viable product, and started selling that. And we started getting into home services. Home services really started to take off. Some people requested certain integrations with specific softwares. And we started to see that this process really benefits this specific group of people, home services in general. And so we went all in on really coming up with the ideal solution for home services. And the integrations are really the key differentiator, because we focus specifically on the key integrations with the softwares that most home services are using. We'll go into those,
right?
But that's kind of like that. If that story was a graph, it would look like that, but it's really more like this, For those listening, I'm not going to try to explain that. but
well, I mean, that's the entrepreneurial roller coaster, right?
Right.
If you suck it back and you actually look at it from a very macro point of view, like, yeah, it looks very upward trajectory and looks like a smooth ride, but you don't see all those little micro ups and downs when you're in the moment, and it feels like the world is ending, and then you're on cloud 9 the next hour, and then the world's ending again the next minute. And
yeah, that's about it.
Did you guys ever see somebody posted a video, and it was this guy, it was a trampoline, and then there's a set of stairs going up, and he would walk up the stairs and he'd fall off, he'd hit the trampoline and he'd bounce back up.
I saw that was like, we went pretty viral, right? Yeah,
right. Yeah, and he fell off, and then like he got to the very top, and like he's trying to jump back up and trying to jump back up and trying to jump back up, and he would almost get there and he'd go back down, and he'd get back up there and go back down and then go back when he'd land, but then he'd come right back down. And like just that whole idea of it's sometimes it's 2 steps forwards and 3 steps back, and sometimes it's 2 steps forward and 1 step back, or 1 step back, 2 steps forward. Like it's such a roller coaster when you're on the growth path, and like any business, not just what you build or what we build, but any business has that.
Yeah, there's really it's funny with entrepreneurship. Everybody in it has a story that can relate, regardless of the business you're in, regardless of what niche you're in. It's very relatable across the entire spectrum. So yeah, that's a brief overview of how Chiirp came to be.
I've got a few ways that I want to go. Evan, do you have anything that you want to go?
Go for it, buddy.
All right. You talked about the sales journey in one process, in that you had from that. I think my personal opinion is that there's a lot of times that sales journey gets discombobulated, I guess, or disconjointed between platforms, right? You have the big ones out there, right? And I will say them, right? It's ServiceTitan, HouseCall Pro, Sera. Those are your big 3 for the HVAC space. And there's some other ones. There's Service Fusion, Jobber, and they likely all have the same issue, when you try to bridge that gap between marketing, and because you're on the front end, right? Chiirp is all on the front end. It's speed to lead, it's text automation, and some of the back end, rehash and filter reminders, which we'll dive into some of those things.
Yeah.
How is somebody best able to bridge that sales process using a platform for marketing and a platform for their back end once they've got them into their ecosystem as a customer?
So if it's cool with you, I'm going to say process and not process, but
process. Process.
Projects and processes, right? So we focus on the whole customer journey from the moment that a lead becomes a lead to the time that we request the review and put them into sequences for following up for reservice, after the job is complete. And again, people are using multiple systems. They'll use systems on the front for estimating. They'll use a ServiceTitan House Call Pro, Sera, like for the actual job. And then for follow-up after, they may have a different review platform or something else that they're using to communicate, like long-term, like Constant Contact or something like that. Our idea is that we integrate with every system along the way, and that system is telling Chiirp to communicate with the customer, so that the same thread that you started at the very beginning is the same thread that we're going to communicate through the entire customer journey, so that at the end of the job, they haven't received text messages from 3 or 4 different phone numbers. And what this really helps the client do, or the business do, is it's relationship building on autopilot, like automatically building the relationship. If you send a text message, if you've communicated with them perfectly all the way to the end, and then they get a text message from a different phone number that's like, "Thank you so much for doing business with X company today. Please leave a review here." That's way less effective than if you send it from the same thread that you've been communicating all the way through and personally thank them for the job and then request the review, just by saying, "Thank you so much for supporting our local business. We thrive on reviews. We'd really appreciate if you'd leave us one here." That's the person that they've been communicating with all the way through, and they feel much more comfortable than if it comes from some random phone number. So that's a small part of what you're talking about there. And then as we continue to communicate with them throughout the year, and this is not Chiirp, just to be clear, is not just a text message platform. It's a multi-channel communication platform. But as we continue to communicate throughout the year, sending filter change reminders, tips and tricks in this spring and fall, that kind of stuff. When we reach back out in a year and say, "Hey, it's been a year since we communicated, since we last, serviced your furnace," or whatever it is you want to say, they'll be able to scroll back through that thread. They'll see that they can see the entire conversation that you've had with them over the past year, all the way, from back. So really, by doing it that way, that smoothly, you're automating the trust building process and the relationship, so they know, like, I can text this person, there's somebody there to get back. And to speak to that a little bit more, we're not trying to automate the human out of this equation. We're trying to turn the human into a superhero, so that they are superhuman, I should say, so that they can do more. They can communicate with more people at scale, but still maintain a personal touch. So the idea here is personal touch at scale. Does that make sense?
Yep, definitely.
No, 100%. Well, and you see that quite a bit, right? Like, the one thing I liked is that the same thread with text messages all the way through, from the moment of first point of contact to, text on the way, like the tech, not text, but tech itself is on the way, invoice, whatever, everything, right? I just had my furnace tuned up yesterday, and, 2 different phone numbers came through. One was the guy's personal cell phone calling me saying, "Hey, I'm on my way. Want to make sure before I drive all the way down to where you're at that you're gonna be home, right?" But I also didn't mind that personal touch either. But that's a big thing, I think, that a lot of people miss in that, because you can have continuity in itself. But what are some pitfalls? Like you talked about, not trying to automate the human, not trying to automate the human out, just trying to turn them into a superhuman. What are some pitfalls that you've seen along the way of people trying to automate too much?
Yeah, that's a huge thing. Like, I talk about automation all the time, but people definitely try to over automate, and there's a point where we cross the line of automation, right? And a lot of that comes in when you're trying to do anything that is bot related, where you're trying to like have conversations that are automated. People, that was like a cool thing for a little while when like the tech came out and people understood how to create like automated conversations. But quickly people just got just like super annoyed with it. They can sense it in like 2 steps, right? If you're having a conversation with somebody and it's more than 2 questions deep, they're going to know. They're going to go, this is a bot. This isn't a real human being talking to me. And that is going to kill the whole vibe that we've been trying to create, which is personal touch at scale. So what I like to see is automation at the beginning of conversations. We'll call them conversation starting text messages, so that the first message going out is an automated message, but it is conversational in nature. And as they respond to that text message, then a live person slides in and takes over the conversation to continue. It's not going further than that. Some people will do 1 or 2 steps in automation. They might ask like, are you the homeowner? Yes. Okay, great. And then continue. Like there might be 1 or 2 questions that at least are, somewhat to filter it a little bit, but beyond that, I would, you start to just lose them and they'll drop off. So.
And do you see that working better with like certain campaigns versus others? Like if that's a live chat widget coming off of a website versus a Facebook lead versus a missed call text back or something like that?
Yeah, everything I'm talking about there is always going to be nuanced based on what context we're talking about, right? Like a Facebook lead you want to treat that differently than you do somebody submitting their information on a site chat. Like you said, an after hours phone call, everything is nuanced and you want to have the right message for the right person. So we say that a lot, like the exact right message for the exact right person at the exact right time. And so there's a lot of nuance there, but again, it always comes back to like people go, how do I craft these messages? And I say, well, what would you do? Like we all text all the time. What would you say? In that situation? Like you don't want to overthink this. Some people think that they need to like be pro copywriters or something to come up with this. And so I say, like, what would you, if you were to pick up the phone and text this person, what would you say? That's what you want to say. Like, and so when you're creating these different points in your business, you say, and this is what's cool about Chiirp, you can say, okay, when this happens in my business, I'd like this to happen. And so there's hundreds of triggers throughout your business. They can be events happening in Service Titan. They can be, when an Angie lead comes through, when a Facebook lead comes through, when a Google lead comes through, when somebody calls me in the morning, when somebody calls me at night. You can have all these different triggers for all these different points in your business. And you're going to now use craft text messages that you would say, okay, if somebody calls me at 10 o'clock at night, if I was to pick up the phone and text them, what would I say? I would say, hey, I'm so sorry I couldn't come to the phone. It's after hours. But is this an emergency? Or you could say, and then if they say yes, you could then respond with, okay, click this link, to book, or oh, here's our after hours emergency phone number, and automatically respond. And if they say no, you could say, perfect. I'll contact you first thing in the morning. Like have those kind of automations that respond based on yes and no, that kind of stuff. Right. And so you come up with each individual scenario, and now, again, they're not over automated. They're just those first text messages. And then beyond that, we're going to go like an Angie lead, we want to make sure we contact an Angie lead within like 20 seconds of them submitting their information if we want to have high conversion. So the text message is simple. Hey, thank you so much for requesting information. I saw that you're in need of X services, can I call you right now? Or, what city's your home? And just some sort of conversation starting text message. And then as they respond, you take over and do what you can do. What these people are trained to do is, close the deals. So the whole point of automation is to trigger the conversation and get them in a position where you can sell.
No, it makes sense. And I love that because, in marketing, we talk a lot about being contextual to the platform, right? Right. Because who you are on Facebook is different than who you are on Instagram, is different than who you are on TikTok, is different than who you are on LinkedIn. And I connected back to just your own daily life. Who you are on Friday night going out with your buddies is different than who you are Saturday morning coaching your kids' basketball team, is different than who you are Saturday night going out and playing hockey with your buddies, is different than who you are Sunday morning showing up at church. You're still the same person, but how you show up in those 4 environments is very different.
Yep. What if you show up the same in all those environments?
It
That's
makes
sad.
church a whole lot more exciting or hockey a whole lot more boring. Right. And so being able to take that same authentic person, but how they show up and how they express themselves in those environments is slightly different.
Yep.
Right? It's the exact same way with how you want to respond to people based on how they come into your business. I love that example.
And that comes down to where we've gone so deep with the integrations. That's speaking to that is kind of the right segue for this, because, you know, I'm going to follow up. So if I'm just like loosely integrated and I have like, let's say I have an estimate follow-up campaign, that's a blanket campaign that every single estimate is going to get. Right. And it's like, how can I, that if I sell a high ticket service, if I'm selling a system replacement versus a repair, I'm going to want a different sequence and a different cadence for that high ticket sale than I am for a low ticket sale. And so we can recognize that within service items. So you can say, okay, at estimate sent, or house call per, whatever you're using, Sera, as well, at estimate sent, if it has this job type, this business unit, this tag, this invoice amount, all these different filters, then I want to do this campaign. However, if it's this, and this, then I want to do this campaign. And now we're becoming way more laser targeted than we are just blanket general. Hey, I sent you that estimate yesterday. Would you like us to call you back? It can be much more personal. Hey, we're really excited about coming in and replacing your system. We'd love to discuss this with you. We sent you that invoice. Please let us know if you have any questions. You can also send a ringless voicemail, which is like super high converting, where it's a pre-recorded message in their voicemail that's just like, hey, I sent you that invoice yesterday, or that estimate yesterday. I know, I know you probably have some questions you want to discuss, but let's make sure, we answer all your questions and you feel comfortable moving forward. Please text me back when you have a minute. And that personal touch on those higher ticket sales can mean the difference, Yep.
No. Absolutely. Well, and that's technology allows us. Oh, Thad froze there on a very interesting face. That was great.
He was like, oh, this is so interesting.
So fascinating.
I was just trying to find where Jason Julian commented on, because we have 7 different places we go live, and sometimes it's tough to find out where they commented. If it just says Facebook, well, which one? There's 5.
No, but this is incredibly fascinating, because this is the era that we live in today, is the ability to connect with people on a micro level.
Yes. Right? Yes.
To run a blanketed TV ad 25 years ago talking about how great your business was, you had to try and connect with as many people as possible, and it was the spray and pray approach. Right. Today, you could run a YouTube ad over top of one community, talking specifically to them and the problems that they're going to face based on the age of their home.
Yes.
Incredibly fascinating. You could run automated text messages based on what funnel people are connecting with you on.
Yep.
And it can be automated down to the point that you're talking to their problems, talking to their fears, and providing a solution, setting up the conversation for someone else to take over. I love it. This is great.
Well, yeah, you talk about problems, fears, solutions. Like we, what was it last week? I don't know. It all kind of blends in together from our travel. I'm talking.
Yep.
Customer avatar.
I swear this is going to be a good thing. Good thought.
Did I lose out?
Yeah, you did.
Start over.
Yeah, my internet. All right. Problems and solutions. We're trying something new. We're trying to individually record all of our videos. So maybe it actually even said before we got on that people with slow internet connections will have a tough time with this. I'm like, well, I'm fucked. So my internet's just shitty, even though it should be good. But anyways, problems and solutions, and over top of a specific community. I take this back to your ideal customer avatar, right? We were down at TJ Hartnett's budgeting workshop last week in Dallas, and talking about budgeting for marketing. And we're like, well, does everybody know what their ideal customer avatar is? And most people said no. And so we ran through an exercise of finding your ideal customer avatar. But here's the thing is when you actually, and go back, it was last week on our YouTube, on our Facebook, wherever. If you're missing it, send me a message. I'll send you the link for it. But here's the thing is when you know your ideal customer avatar and you've built out their pains, their frustrations, their problems, and you have the solution for it, and you can communicate your messaging in some of the automation part and have those topics. And then what Evan said about running a YouTube ad over top of those communities, man, think of how powerful that is in your marketing messaging.
Yeah, you think about, we think, we heavily target, and that's how we find our audiences, right? And that's where this really comes down to, is like once you find that, it's speaking the language of that person, right? And so, and everybody, it's the difference between saying process and process. It's like we can really, if we nail it with that person, and that people do business with know, like, and trust, right? Everybody's heard that a million times, know, like, and trust.
Yep.
The like part, that's one that people don't necessarily really focus on. They're like, hey, we're a very honest company, of course. So you can trust us. And then you'll know us because we're branded and we're everywhere. But that moment that somebody likes you is like the game changer. Because if all things considered are the same, if the quotes are the same, there's going to be a feeling that they feel that they like this guy more than this guy. And by communicating more effectively, and just certain words at certain times are going to push that over the mark, where they're just, if they have two estimates, both are for $10,000 exactly, one of them's going to give them a feeling like, I just like this guy more, I'm going with this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And yet sometimes, and I don't know if you've ever had this happen as a salesperson, but I've definitely had it happen before, where it's like, hey, look, I really like you, but we decided to go with the other guy.
Something fell off on the trust and the no part, but not the like.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And that's where, like, there's those three layers there. And if you miss the bar on any of them, you're going to be in deep shit. You're going to miss out on sales.
Yep.
Right. And so
I would probably think that they might like you, but they don't trust you.
They don't trust you, or they don't think that they know that you're an expert in your field.
Right.
That's probably because like and trust, those go kind of hand in hand. If they don't trust you, they probably don't like you. Mm-hmm. But knowing that they just don't feel that you're up to par, on on what you can do. So yeah, they're all three incredibly important. It just seems to me like we kind of don't focus on like as much as we could. There could be just little things here and there that just push the like over the line, and they just go, yeah, I just like that guy more.
Well, because most often, like, what we were taught as salespeople anyways was inauthentic rapport building, right? I'm going to sit down and I'm going to look around your office, or I'm going to sit in your house and I'm going to look around your house and I'm going to find something that I can talk about. Like, oh, you got a fish on the wall. Do you like fishing? Oh, I like fishing. Sure. Why not? I don't actually like fishing. I don't give two shits about it. Right. Like that inauthenticity. Yeah. That inauthenticity that comes through is like, people can smell the bullshit radar is through the roof today. Right. So how can we be more authentic? So I guess here's a question for you then. When it comes to the automation, how can we be more authentic in our automation and our text messages so that we can build that relationship? Like you said, that relationship building on autopilot. How can we start to build that through automation and still come off as authentic?
Well, again, there's two parts to that, where we are laser targeting, right? So like we said, you're crafting a message that's different for an Angie lead than a Facebook lead than a Google lead. We're crafting a message that's different for a high ticket sale versus a low ticket sale. And so those taking it away from being just blanketed is a huge part of this. And you want to think those through. You think Angie leads, those are generally going to be like, price shopper kind of people. You're going to try to come up with messages that are going to reach that audience better than maybe somebody who is searching on Google. It's always going to be nuanced and a little bit different. But again, having the ability to laser target and break up into these categories really makes a difference. But the other part is, again, going back to not overthinking. When I'm typing these messages, I'll pull out my phone too, and I'll type them on my phone as if like, okay, I don't want to type them on my keyboard because it's going to come off a little differently than if I would have typed them on my phone. Because I text differently. I text with my thumb, whereas I type with 8 fingers, 10 fingers, I should say. 4.
So anybody that's now watching, they probably, if you did what I did, I looked at them like, wait, 10, 4, 8? No, yeah.
These aren't actually fingers. This is some so it's like 8 fingers. So you come off way differently, and the tone may be totally different, right? And so you want to make sure that you're doing it in a way that is if you were just texting somebody back and forth. You don't want to overthink that.
I actually like that part about like putting it in. I mean, there is also an extreme, I think. So like caveat this, because the people that text like YOU and they put you in like just the letter U, or like
Yep.
R, like the letter R instead of ARE, like, okay, maybe like walk back some of your short form texting
Yes.
to be able to make sure there's actually some at least coherent sentences in there. So just caveat that because if you're like my how many fingers do you use for that's one eye and one finger like this, Jason.
Jason Julian just asked, how many fingers do you use when typing when drunk?
Yeah.
And so yes, one eye and one finger, or voice to text. Those are definitely the best options.
Or just don't type, right? I mean, you're trying to enjoy yourself, right?
Ryan's
messages,
philosophy.
Yeah. Sounds like work. Where were we? That threw me off that question.
We were talking about texting,
Yeah.
Texting versus
First,
typing.
okay. Let's take a step back and say, all right, we're still a business, and we still need to be professional. Let's try to spell everything right. Like misspellings nowadays are egregious because you passed you didn't like. We have spell check and it's always fixing it for us. So if you misspell something, it was like really bad. So like don't misspell words, don't over emoji, but you still want to be professional, but you still want to put that like flavor on it, that texting flavor on it. You just don't want to be you don't want to be like, you are great. So for sure.
GR number 8.
Yeah, GR. Yeah, exactly. But definitely like emojis are cool to a degree, and they definitely help with tone. Like it's funny how like people will misread a text like 1,000 times, but if you throw in a little smiley face where it's like, hey, this is in good tone, not and that'll help a lot. So you definitely can use emojis. They're like hieroglyphics now at this point, and they do help.
Evan's laughing at the comments, I'm sure.
Well, and the idea of sending an eggplant emoji and whether or not that's business appropriate. So.
Yeah, don't.
Wow, it depends on who you're talking with. But it's funny. So like misspelling words, don't ever use emojis. There's a free Chrome extension, everyone. Grammarly. It is free. Do yourself a favor. Download it. No affiliate commissions here, guys. Just download Grammarly. For when you type your shit out, it's going to give you a little red underline. Also, if you're on an Android, maybe iPhones do this too. But like when I text on my Google Pixel, it actually underlines incorrect grammar sentences, not just wrong words, but like if I'm missing a word in between that, it actually now highlights it, right? Because it's gotten so smart. So do yourself a favor and utilize those tools to your advantage when you are doing your text messages.
There's no excuse for bad spelling, bad grammar.
No.
Yep. I did see your spell today on someone's comments, and I was disappointed.
Oh, did you call him out on it?
I did not. No.
You should have.
Silent head shake.
They're different.
There and there, yeah. All right, random question generator. This is probably one of my favorite parts of the show, where we get to ask you a question that has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but it's kind of a squirrel and allows us to be able to do things. By the way, this random question generator is brought to you by On Purpose Media. That is our marketing company. We handle all things marketing for HVAC companies, websites, SEO, Google Ads, Facebook ads, etc. I have to do the shameless plug in there because I had somebody really, really, really smart and really, 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 really successful in the HVAC industry who's been on the show numerous times. When I went for dinner with him in Dallas, he's like, "What's the name of your marketing company?" I'm like, "Motherfucker." Got to do a better job of shamelessly self-promoting ourselves. So random question. We have 3 choices for you. You do not get to know what the choices are. You just get to choose 1, 2, or 3. So what adventure do you want to go down? Door number 1, door number 2, or door number 3?
Let's go door number 3.
Door number 3. When was the last time you mooned someone, went streaking, or went skinny dipping?
Dude, I'm so boring when it comes to that kind of stuff. Skinny dipping. I don't think I've ever mooned somebody. What was the other one? Streaking. I've
Yep.
never, for sure, never streaked. Skinny dipping. 14 years old, so that would have been 26 years ago, if my math is right, in Lake Arrowhead, California, at midnight on our dock.
Very specific. Yeah.
That's
Right.
cool, right? And I was 14, and I'm not going to say that there was girls there, but I'm not going to say they were not. No, I'm going to say there was no girls there. It was just it's like so boring. It's not like I was like this, like, you know, super cool guy 18 with all these girls. It was like a couple of like nerdy 14-year-old friends that were like, hey, let's do this. And it was midnight, so we couldn't see anything, so we just jumped in. So pretty boring, dude. That's boring. So
life,
and mooning,
I was gonna say life of a guy who's a techie nerd, right? Like
life of a guy that
loves the automation.
This is as hard as it gets for me. Right?
I was like, I was trying to think, like, fuck, when was the last time I did that? I'm like, man, about a year ago.
Yeah, I was gonna say this summer.
When was the last time I went swimming with clothes on? Let's see. I don't even remember. No. Yeah. I'm sorry, boring, man. Yeah.
Oh man, sorry to go back onto the grammar train. Jason, I love you.
Right?
You're correct, spelled incorrectly. Grammar isn't not important, double negative. It's really up to you, to spelled TWO with the letter U. It's your fault, spelled wrong, if you find any mistakes. That is an example of what not to do in text messaging automations.
Jason, you got it's right. IT''S. That was it. You got it right.
There you go. The one in there. We should have just put that up and said spot the grammar errors. Talking in terms of integrations, I know we touched on that at the very beginning. You touched on it again a little bit, but we didn't really dive a lot in terms of into it itself. And the reason I want to touch on it is a lot of the platforms out there and the big three that everybody talks about: HouseCall Pro, Sera, ServiceTitan, Sera. I'll say the names. I don't care. Is what it is. Use whatever one you want to use, but use Sera. Biased much. I'm having a good time, man. It's been a little while since we've done it like this and really deep and just being able to get off on tangents like this, where those 20-minute episodes in Phoenix were tough. They were tough. Yep. Fun, but tough.
A lot of fun.
A lot of fun. Just tough because, again, we like squirrels. Looking at those integrations, making sure that those platforms are communicating the right way. And I know Chiirp has a direct integration. It's essentially a drop down. You click and connect and do what you need to do. What in terms of, I mean, maybe not just necessarily Chiirp, but utilizing those, going back to, another platform for marketing, Chiirp, right? And you guys do other things too on the back end. It's not just a front end marketing. HouseCall Pro, ServiceTitan, Sera, they all have like the text on the way. They have all those automated messages. How can somebody best integrate that into their day-to-day business, knowing that those other platforms have so much on the go and so much going for them when somebody's a client, right? When somebody's a customer and you're going out and you're seeing those jobs.
So when somebody's a client,
right? So let me rephrase the client part. So like you have like lead, right? They come into the website, Google ad, Facebook ad, whatever, right? They say, hey, I want information. You have speed to lead, which comes on that. We'll get into speed to lead after. And then they say, okay, great. Job is booked. Tech is going. The job is underway, right? That's what I mean by client. So they've actually booked the call. They're there. They're going to bill them when they're done.
In the CRM, right? It's in the
correct
system.
They're in the CRM in the system, but then also there's sending it back to something like a Chiirp or another platform, HubSpot, Salesforce, whatever you want to use, right? Insert fancy CRM today.
So if I understand correctly, the whole idea goes back again to, we've started the conversation already with a specific process. We followed up with them to get to the point where we've booked the job. And at this point, it's up to the client. It's up to the business owner. I'm going to call it the business owner at this point on how they want their journey to look. Some people just say, hey, I just want Chiirp on the front end for lead conversion. I just want to work on converting more leads into jobs. Once that's done, I don't care about anything else. That's great. If you just use Chiirp for speed to lead, estimate follow-ups, job follow-ups, just making sure that you're getting maximum conversion, you would get total benefit from Chiirp, and be totally happy with the investment. Now, for those that want to take it all the way through, they can turn off those messages within Service Titan or House Call Pro or whatever, and the same triggers will tell Chiirp to do the same thing. So instead of having the messages go out through Service Titan or House Call Pro or whatever, they can trigger it at, technician dispatched, tell Chiirp to send this text message. So you can still do all the same things, and you can maintain that thread all the way through, if that's what you want to do. That goes back to me saying relationship building, automation, that kind of thing. We're not trying to text them from multiple phone numbers. The ability is there. So some people say, hey, I want my thread to be from the moment the lead becomes lead all the way through. I don't want any interruptions in that thread. So you don't have to change what you're doing in Service Titan or whatever. When you click technician dispatched, that's still going to tell Chiirp what to do. You don't have to go over to Chiirp and go, okay, technician dispatch, right? It's all stuff you're doing within you're not changing the way you're doing anything. It's just telling Chiirp to send the message rather than Service Titan's internal system to send the text message. So it's totally optional. And like I said, some people will use it for just front end and back end. They'll say, okay, lead conversion, then also want to use it for reviews, and also want to use it for like post job follow up and filter change reminders and all that stuff. But I still want to use Service Titan for there and whatever. That's totally fine. And it's not the end of the world. Like you said, you receive text messages from multiple phone numbers. It's not the end of the world, but some people are super, they just want to be perfect through the entire thing. And so,
Sure.
So we get that ability to do that. But there's nothing that says you have to use it all the way through. Some people just use it for our message broadcast system where they just want to go, I want to be able to send, like we have, Comfort Now in California is one of our longtime users. He has made millions of dollars from his shoulder season outreach campaign that he just goes, all right, at shoulder season, if we have openings, he has a 3-step campaign. It's a voicemail and 2 follow-up text messages. He'll grab 100 people that he hasn't serviced in a year, and he'll put them into that campaign every day for 5 days. And he's filled out his shoulder season completely every year that he's used that campaign. And it's simply a voicemail that goes out that says, hey, it's Dustin with Comfort Now. Thank you so much for being a customer. It's that time of year again for service. I just want to let you know that we have 50 slots available right now for a $49 tune-up. If you'd like to jump on the schedule, just call me back or text me at this number. He's like, I send that voicemail out to 100 people. I will get calls and calls and calls. And then 15 minutes later, he has a text message that goes out that says, hey, I don't know the name of his CSR, but we'll say Amanda. Say, hey, it's Amanda. Dustin just left you a voicemail. Wanted to let you know we have those 50 slots. If you have any questions, let me know. And then he'll get a bunch of texts back. And then a day later, if for those that have not responded to either the voicemail or the text, one more text message will go out that says, just following up one last time, we're almost full on those 50 slots. Let us know if you'd like to take one. And that's the last one. With that, he's filled up his shoulder season every single time.
I'm glad that you got into that because in our private chat on the side, we're like, hey, let's get into Rehash. And you nailed it, right? Evan?
Well, and that's, the goal in HVAC specifically is to be weather assisted, not weather dependent.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And utilizing your own internal marketing with outbound marketing is what's going to make you a stronger business throughout the shoulder season. Billy talks about having memberships. A lot of people talk about having memberships and that being the thing that they rely on in order to keep booked, and they can predict how many jobs they're going to be able to do throughout that slow season, to be able to drive business, continue to hire, continue to train new people. This will allow you to not just do it with memberships, but also just do it with everyone that's on your database.
Yeah. If you have a database, like people come to me and they're like, oh, I have a database of 6,000 people that I haven't communicated with in years. And you're like, dude, you're sitting on a gold mine, and all you got to, and a lot of people, they'll hire like a call center or somebody to do it. And it's like automation can take care of that. They can do it without. It's like they'll pay to get the list, and then they'll pay to have the list remarketed to, and like they'll pay again and again. And it's like, you could just do it, with automation and not have to pay over and over again to get these people to rebook. Speaking of memberships, we have a killer process going on right now to sell more memberships using this process. But unless you guys had something else, I'd love to talk about that a little bit.
Well, before you get into that, I do we've dropped a lot of stuff, and I'm gonna shamelessly plug you a little bit because I think somebody's hearing this rehash and they're like, how do I reach out? Right? Like that might solve some of their problems in shoulder season. So number one, this is going to be a longer link. If you want to do a seed demo, it's actually not our name. So chiirp.com !FPR = Jessica Woodruff Smith. Check the show notes. It'll be there. It's a long one. The reason that we're using her link, by the way, so she actually commented on one of the photos of you coming up. So this is actually via Stephanie Allen. They're out in California. And
awesome company, by the way.
Phenomenal people, phenomenal people. We had them on our podcast when we were down in Phoenix, and so if somebody signs up through that particular link, for example, they will donate all of their affiliate commissions via signing up for that link to a charity that they deem fit. It's obviously going to be female dependent, so nonprofits such as to encourage people to join the trades, something like Women in HVACR and their scholarship endowment, their tools and tiaras, or explore the trades, right? And so they're going to actually use that for something that's beneficial versus if we were to drop our own and just put it into our pocket. So I really like that idea from Jessica. But I mean,
we were going to plug our own. Yeah.
Right. we were going to plug our own, but you know what? Jessica put that comment on there. So we'll definitely plug that. If you just want to see a little bit more about Chiirp, it's chiirp.com with 2 I's, CHIIRP is their website. But again, go use this link itself.
The link with Jessica Woodruff Smith, you can go through the whole site, and regardless, if you ever sign up, it'll be tracked back to her. So perfect. Part of what he's saying is part of every month, the recurring affiliate commission will be donated to trades related things. So
which is phenomenal. So we're all about giving back as well. So and if you just want to reach out to Ryan, we're going to put that on there, Ryan at chiirp.com as well, to be able to get in direct contact with him. So
all right, memberships, go.
All right.
Yeah, so obviously a big discussion with memberships. Some people love them, some people hate them. There's been a lot of communication in the about these. Some people say they're not great, but one of the things we talk about a lot in sales and in automation is framing. Not like building a home, but framing the conversation to be able to close a deal correctly. And the simple version of what framing is trying to get yourself in a position of authority to speak about what you're talking about, so that in the conversation, the person views you as the authority, and you're able to walk them through the process of buying this thing. And one of the ways to do that is to get them to ask a question. If you can get them to ask you a question, you have you're in the right spot. You framed that conversation correctly. So one of the ways we do that is technician dispatched within the integration to Service Titan, and we can do this with tags and House Call Pro. But in Service Titan, this is really cool because we have the ability to filter based on if they are a member or they are not a member. So if Chiirp recognizes that this person is not a member, we can trigger a specific campaign. This goes back to what you're talking about, like, yeah, we can always do technician dispatch, text messages through Service Titan. This way we can use them to actually sell things. And so at this point, I'm going to send a text message to the client, or to the customer, and I'm going to say, hi, Jessica, your technician John is on his way. By the way, if you'd like to save a little bit of money on this visit, be sure to ask him about our cool membership program. That is just that one sentence alone, that one text message can completely shift the conversation. Number one, the technician, we can't rely on the technician to always remember to sell memberships. They're not natural. Some of you guys have really killer sales technicians, but some just not naturally born salesmen. You have to go, hey, did you ask them about memberships? And they're like, oh shoot, I forgot. I forgot. In this way, now the member's going, when the technician shows up, the member's going to, oh, hey, I got this text message. It says I can save some money about like a membership thing. And then the technician will automatically, oh yes, let me tell you a little bit about our membership program, and sell the membership program. And then at that point, we can also alert the technician. Like if they don't ask, we could alert the technician like 10 minutes into the call or something that says like, hey, be sure to ask them about the membership program if they didn't ask, just to remind them to do it. But one way or another, we're going to have a conversation about memberships one way or another. So with that simple, just something as simple as that, that can completely shift the conversation and increase the, I mean, obviously the more you talk about it, the more you're going to sell it. So
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, it's framing the experience for a customer, right? Like I know one of the things that's talked about with CSRs is like talking about a 5-star experience, right? We look forward to providing you a 5-star experience. Tech shows up, we look forward to providing you a 5-star experience. Why? Because you're dropping the hints that we want to provide a 5-star experience so that you leave us a review when we ask for a review for 5 stars, right? How can we set the expectation, plant the seeds to allow it to grow into something that we want at the end? And so I love that idea.
Yep. Perfect example of framing. So both on both points. So
definitely. How can we plant those subliminal messages that TV did to us as kids all the time? So
oh, hey, look at that. There you go. So Justin, your boy, he's offering 25% off the first 3 months for any HVAC Success Secrets Revealed listeners that book a demo and sign up with Chiirp. This is Justin, by the way. So your team is offering
your team's throwing out discounts.
use the Jessica Woodruff Smith link and sign up. You have to say at some point in there that you came through the HVAC Revealed in order to get that. But
yep. I wasn't going to bring it up. Thanks, Justin. Now we can't donate as much money to these women that want to join.
There you go. So if you want to waive your discount, you can do that.
I'm just kidding. Even with the discount, we will be donating to the trade.
I love that, Justin. Man, we covered a lot.
I wanted to get into rehash real quick.
Justin, you should have said, if you'd like to learn more about how you can save money with Chiirp, be sure to ask about our membership program.
You can tell who's the CEO, and no, I'm just kidding. Thank you, Justin, for that. Thanks for that reminder. Rehash, real quick. The importance of rehash throughout time, being able to follow up with people consistently so that your salespeople don't have to. Go. It just still shocks me that this is even a conversation, but it is such a huge problem.
People that we've heard it so much that it's a cliche now. If I say, hey, don't forget the fortune's in the follow-up, it's like, yeah, we know. It is though. Like the fortune is in the follow-up 100%. And most companies, we talk to a lot of companies. I would guess that 90 to 95% of them, when I say, hey, most companies are calling once, maybe calling twice, and that's the end of it. They all go, yeah, that's about what we do. We call once or twice. We need to touch our potential leads 8 to 12. Some people argue 15 times to get maximum conversion. Nobody's doing that. So, and that's because nobody wants to do it. It's the boring part of sales. Nobody wants to follow up. It's a pain. They like the action. They like to close deals. Everybody likes to close deals. So they focus on the people that are hot and ready to buy now, and the people that might take 7 days, 14 days, or 30 days to nurture fall to the wayside. Right. And so by implementing automation, you just go, hey, you know what? Forget it. We're never going to be able to master follow-up on our own. Let's just take it off our plate and let automation do it. And the automation will send the text messages. It'll send the voicemails. It'll send the emails over a period of time. And again, this goes back to specific cadences, specific sequences for different types of jobs. High ticket estimates are going to get a different treatment than a low ticket estimate. And these different follow-ups are going to increase conversion. And you're going to see like 7 days later, a text message will go out and you'll see a pop-up. Oh yeah, I've been meaning to do that. Sales guy can then take it over. Cool, I've got a hot lead. Now I'm going to take it over and close the deal. But automation took them to that point, and then now they're good to go. So
are you sending automated messages to the salesperson too to follow up?
Yes, yeah. And we'll do like Slack automation. So like, hey, you need to call, like, hey, it's been 4 days, give this guy a call, or it's, you know, different things like that. So to alert the sales guy along the way as well. But texts are going out. Hey, it's been, I can't tell you how many times people will post in our group. They'll be like, check it out. I just closed a $10,000 job from a 3-week follow-up. Like a message went out 3 weeks later. Hey, just giving this one last shot. Wanted to see if you're still interested in talking about this. And the guy goes, yeah, so sorry. I've been sick. Let's go ahead and move forward. And had he not sent that message 3 weeks later, it never would have happened. You know?
Right.
So
well, I know Thad and I, we came up in direct sales, and we lived and breathed by the fortune is in the follow-up, to the extent that both of us had a Post-it note sitting on our walls. We had a pin board in our offices, and, you know, it talked about the different statistics in sales. I don't know if you still have it, Thad. I don't. I just pulled one up here. And I mean,
the link, it's like, I don't have
these
it.
These seem slightly off compared to what we had, but I mean, 50% of statistics are made up anyway. So it gives you a rough idea. 2% of sales are made on the first contact, 3% are made on the second contact, 5% are made on the third contact, 10% are made on the fourth, and 80% are made on the 5th to the 12th contact. 48% of salespeople never follow up with a prospect. 25% make a second contact and stop. 12% make more than 3 contacts.
Yeah, and that, I had a thought on that. Oh, dude, I just blanked. I had a thought that I wanted to share that I just blanked.
Happens to me all the time. Happens to me all the time. I'll be in the middle of a sentence and it'll happen. But yes, Evan, that is the
juice.
The damn juice. Sugar's getting to the brain.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say. Just, I mean, think about this. If estimates follow-ups just bumped you 10% close rate, that's huge across the board. And the other thought I was gonna have, that's what I had. This is what it was. There are people that absolutely will not buy until you follow up with them regardless. Like, they're looking for follow-up. Yep. And so you never had a shot at those, period, if you aren't going to follow up with them. 100%. So there's that mentality for certain buyers that are just like, I'll go with the person that follows up with me in a week, you know?
Well, and that's where I'm always curious, like, are you following up not only with the ones that you're doing estimates on, which most people aren't, but also are you following up with the calls that you didn't book? Right?
Oh, yeah.
You get a home advisor lead that comes in. Oh, yeah, I got someone that's coming out already. Are you sending an automated follow-up a week later to see if they actually booked the job and if they actually got their problem solved?
Yeah, there's 2 parts to the follow-up. There's on the leads, just the leads that are coming in, and then estimates that go out. And you need sequences on both of those.
100%. And automate the shit.
Sequences. Speed lead. That's kind of what you're talking about a little bit there in terms of like, hey, how do you, when somebody comes in, how do you instantly get to them? Like, home advisor, right? Fucking 15 people get the same lead. And it's shitty, but it is what it is when you're talking about home advisor. And some businesses can still build a successful business when they start with home advisor with the goal of, hey, I want to get away from it, or you know what you're going into, right? It's a part of the lead, and then what's your cost per acquisition from it? Different conversation for a different day. But looking at something like a home advisor, something like a Thumbtack, how can you enhance a speed? How can you get in touch with them quickly from a speed to lead point of view?
So, like you said, if you're not first, you're last on these leads, right? Because they're going to go to five other. You said 15. I think it's like 5, but people say 15.
Yeah, I was expanding a little bit for emphasis.
Whiskey tends to make you hyperbole.
It's
theatrical offense.
It's going to 50 other contractors, and if you're not first, you're last. So using technology, we're going to capture that data using webhooks. These are, again, nerdy terms that you don't need to know, but we're going to capture that data. We're going to pull it into Chiirp. We're going to immediately text the lead, and we can generally get that text out to the customer before the email even hits you and your competitor's inbox that says you have a new lead. So we're contacting the lead first for sure, because we're not, unless they're doing something even faster than that. But that we have companies that their whole business is built on Angie leads. That's all they do is just Angie leads. People hate them, and rightfully so. There's a lot of talk about that, but there are a lot of people that are really successful with them. And so, and you just got to question. People go, "Oh, those leads suck." Well, why is that other company doing really well with them? It's usually because your processes suck. It's not because the leads suck. And so, if you want to, you have to create a system around converting those leads. And part of that system is contacting every lead within 30 seconds of them submitting the form.
Yep.
So we have ways of We have ways of capturing the leads from Angie leads, from all those sources, Facebook leads, Google leads, from your website, anywhere that somebody's filling out a form, we can capture that data, immediately start a text message conversation. We can also eliminate some of the busy work that comes with those leads, like putting the data into Service Titan or House Call Pro, alerting the sales guy that there's a new lead in the system, and then putting them into a sequence to follow up. All that stuff happens in the background the moment they submit their form. So.
Love it.
Wow. It is a phenomenal way to be able to do this and like everything all encompassing, right? Like we've covered a ton of ground. We've kind of bounced around a little bit, which is the MO for our show. To be able to bounce around from topic to topic. Yeah, whiskey tends to do that. Not only that, I just think good conversation with good people, right? And juice.
Plus, we got to talk about skinny dipping, which is one of my favorite things to talk about.
Yeah, especially since 14.
Since I got to put it on my calendar to do it again.
Perfect. I think you do.
Evan, any last thoughts?
Yeah, Chiirp.com. $FPR equals Jessica Woodruff Smith. Go check it out. Mention HVAC Success Secrets Revealed, and you will get an extra 25% off for your first 3 months. Go check it out. It's worth it to at least get a demo. I mean, you owe it to yourself as a business owner to free up your time and be able to provide greater customer service for your clients by adding more value. So
capture more leads, connect faster, close more deals.
Yep. And that's the thing I love about this is it's you're not actually spending more money to get more leads through the door, right? You think about it, hiring a marketing company like ourselves, right? You're spending more money so you can get more calls in. But if you are not converting those leads at a high percentage, it's not going to help your business as dramatically, right? Get something that's going to help you convert more.
That's a really good point to just kind of to end on, maybe, is we focus heavily on how do we get more leads? How do we get more leads? How do we get more leads? That's an unsustainable thing where you say the only way I can grow is to get more leads.
Yep.
It should be, how do I convert more of the leads I'm getting now?
Right.
And once I get to the maximum conversion rate, then I'm going to look for more leads. But you shouldn't be irresponsible enough to say, I want just tons and tons of leads. You say, no, let me make sure that my systems are in place to convert at the highest level. Then I'll get more leads. And now I'm an efficient business that's scalable.
Correct. And this is why one of the reasons that, how we view our partnerships with clients is a partnership, right? Because the operations and the marketing need to be like this. It's symbiotic. If it's not, and they're operating separately, I'm sorry, but you're going to be overpaying for leads constantly.
Yes. Oh yeah. You guys have dealt. I know you guys. I know this is ringing true for you guys as well. Dude, I can get you more leads. That's not the problem. The problem is you're not closing them. So
not booking them, not closing them, not closing them at a high enough ticket.
I called them
not having the right conversation.
Totally.
Yeah. Well, I called them a day later. They found somebody else. Well, yeah, their fucking heat was out or their air conditioner was broken. Like, no fucking kidding, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's Canada. It's minus 30 Fahrenheit, and your furnace goes out. Well, yeah, you're gonna fucking find the first person who answers your phone, right? It's Florida. It's 120 Fahrenheit in the middle of summer. Guess what? They're gonna go to the first person who gets back to them, right? It's just that's the reality of it. So,
give your balls a tug.
Yeah, I like the capture, connect, close. As we come to an end on the close specifically, we have one final question here for you, Ryan.
Okay.
What is one question that you wish people would ask you more, but don't?
Oh, dang. One question that people would ask me more, but don't. Not that one, because I don't have an answer for that one. I would say, how do how do I track? Okay, let me think about this, because I'm thinking of the philosophy and how do I put it into question. The philosophy is I want people to have better numbers. If somebody comes to me and they ask me, I want to say, what's your conversion rate? And they go, I don't know. That should be a number that everybody knows, right? They should know, like, oh, if I do Facebook ads, my conversion rate is this. You should know that in your business. So the question that I think should be is, what numbers should I track to better understand how things are going in my business? That would be a good question, because I can say, hey, if you're not tracking these things, you can't improve them. If you don't know what your conversion rate is, you can't improve it because you don't know what it is. But if you see that number, if you see, oh, it's 25%, whatever it is, and you see it daily, you can go, how do I get that to 30%? And the question will then cause you to create solutions to that. But without seeing it daily, you won't come up with those solutions.
Sure. So you mentioned one or two of them in there. So what other numbers should somebody be tracking daily to better understand?
You should certainly be tracking, well, like if you're on a high level, you should be tracking conversion or leads to appointments, or leads to estimates. That's a better way to put it. Leads to estimates, estimates to close, and then also closes to repeat business would be a good one. And then also closes to 5-star reviews would be another good one to track. But those are, if you can look at those numbers, those are like your high level KPIs that are just like, okay, I need to know. And then when I started doing that in my windshield repair business, we like tripled our business within a few months, because I was like, oh, my problem is not my sales pitch. I'm closing plenty of deals. It's how many people I'm talking to. That's the percentage I need to work on. But until you see those percentages, you don't know what to work on.
Correct. Plug the holes in the funnel all the way down.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
And then widen the bottom.
Yep. Exactly.
Awesome, Ryan. This has been an absolute treat. I'm loving Chiirp more and more so because of you, your philosophies, your attitude, your approach to it. At the end of the day, it's about making people better in the industry and helping improve them. And that's really what this whole show is about. That's what we stand for as well. Truly appreciate the time, and thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thank you for having me to speak to that for people that are thinking that they want to implement automation or more automation in their business. We are more than just a software company. When you work with us, you work with my team and my philosophies. So when you come to us, you say, I want to implement these automations in my business. We help you build them. It's not just, hey, here's our software. We're this giant bloated venture-backed company. We don't have time to talk to you, but here's our software. Good luck. We
Service Titan.
Glad you said it. I was thinking.
I didn't say anything.
Ryan's the personal third party. He's like, these fucking drunk Canadians. I thought they were supposed to be polite, eh?
The point there is we are very boutique. We work very closely with companies to help them implement automation in their business. So you're getting a lot more than just the software stuff. You're getting a community and an expert to work with you on automation in your business. So we'd love to, like, for those of you listening, we'd love to do a demo and show you. And again, don't be intimidated by implementing this stuff. You should be excited to do it. It will make a difference in your business.
100%. Awesome.
Love it.
Appreciate you, Ryan. Thank you so much for coming on.
Guys. Okay. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Talk to you soon.
Next time.
Cheers.
Well, that's a wrap on another episode of HVAC Success Secrets Revealed. Before you go, two quick things. First off, join our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/HVAC Revealed. The other thing, if you took one tiny bit of information out of this show, no matter how big, no matter how small, all we ask is for you to introduce this to one person in your contacts list. That's it. That's all. One person. So they too can unleash the ultimate HVAC business. Until next time, cheers.